Hi guys, it's Mrs. Moran again. And yesterday in your social studies lesson, you learned about maps and all the interesting things that we can place on maps. We talked about how maps are important tools because they help us to get from one place to another, and they also help us to learn about different locations that we might find at ourselves asking about different places in our neighborhood, in our country, and in our world. And you are, as we speak, hopefully taking your project seriously, taking it your time, and creating something that's going to be really, really nice for Mrs. Moran to see when you are finished. Today, boys and girls, we're going to move on in our study of geography and maps, and we're going to talk about continents. Okay? And today's learning target is, by the end of our lesson today, we should be able to explain what a continent is. Often we've gone to the map in the classroom and we've looked at the map and we have talked, I think, about continents, but I don't know that we've ever done it enough that you should be able to explain what a continent is. So by the end of today's lesson, we should be able to explain what a continent is, and we should be able to identify them either on a map or a globe. And so the question is what is a continent? Now, we've heard the word continent here in the classroom, okay, but we've never really defined it. We've never really talked about what it is, okay? And today we are going to learn about the biggest areas of land that are found on planet Earth, okay? So let's go ahead and see if we can find out what a continent is. Okay, we're going to read the book, Our Continents. Okay, on planet Earth, our planet Earth is covered in land and water. And you'll remember when we talked about bodies of water, the Earth is mainly water. And if you look at this, basically a globe, this sphere, you can see where the Earth is mostly water. The biggest areas of water on Earth are called oceans. We learned that on Monday. And the largest land masses are called continents. So the largest land masses on Earth are called continents. The largest bodies of water or areas of water on Earth are called oceans. All right, so that's important. Largest bodies of water on Earth are called oceans. Largest land masses are called continents. Scientists do not think that Earth has always looked the same. Scientists think that millions of years ago, our Earth was home to one large land mass known as Pangaea. Over trillions of years, the land on Pangaea broke up, leaving us with the 7 continents that we have today. Okay, so scientists originally thought that this is what Earth looked like, that there was something that occurred millions of years ago, and so that one large landmass broke up into the 7 continents that we have today. That is news to me. I never learned that in school. Okay, the continents are very different from one another. They have different climates, they have different landforms, people, and animals. The 7 continents are North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, and Australia. Okay, now, which continent do we live on? I think we may have talked about this in class, so I'm not sure whether anybody would remember which continent we live on. If you said North America, you are correct, okay? So we live on the continent of North America. And remember, North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, Antarctica. All right. The equator is an imaginary line that runs around the Earth. And this, if you look at the label, this is the equator, that imaginary line that runs around the Earth. It divides the Earth into the northern hemisphere. So anything above that imaginary line, that equator, is the northern hemisphere. Anything below it is the southern hemisphere, okay? Climate on a continent and warmth of the oceans surrounding it are affected by how close an area is to the equator. Temperatures are hottest at the equator and get cooler the further away you get. You usually find the equator on a globe. So that's why you can understand why Antarctica is so cold, because it's the furthest away from the equator. This is Africa. Okay, now remember, Africa back is this continent right here in the middle. And I didn't even see it, it's right here. Okay, Africa is covered in deserts, grasslands, and rainforests. It's home to the largest desert in the world, the Sahara Desert. See a picture of that right here. It's also home to one of the longest rivers in the world, the Nile River. Africa is the hottest continent on Earth. Have you ever heard of pyramids? We talked about them the other day. The ancient Egyptian pyramids are some of the most famous man-made structures in the world. They were built in Africa thousands of years ago, okay? So pyramids, man-made structures. Africa, one of the continents. It is the hottest of the 7 continents. Africa is where scientists believe the earliest forms of humans came from millions of years ago. Today, there are more than 3,000 different indigenous, which means native, tribes that live in Africa, and millions of people that live in big, bustling cities. Animals like giraffes, elephants, and zebras, lions, cheetahs, and hippos all live in the wild in Africa, as well as many endangered species, okay? And here you see Cape Town, which is in South Africa. Okay, now, if this is Africa, the continent of Europe is right above Africa. Europe is covered in plains and mountains. Its climate ranges from cold and snowy to warm and sunny. Europe is home to many volcanoes. Okay, and that's a landform, remember, some of which still erupt today. Many European mountains, okay, there you go, another landform, remain snow-covered all year long. Europe is home to many famous man-made structures. We talked about this one in our lesson about man-made structures, including the Eiffel Tower, Acropolis, and Stonehenge. Okay, there we have some man-made structures. We have some landforms. And remember, in the middle is Africa. Above Africa is Europe. Europe is the birthplace of many great civilizations. Today, more than 250 languages are spoken in Europe. Most of the plant life in Europe is contained in forest and mountainous areas. Animals that are native to Europe and live in the wild include wolves, lemmings, reindeer, and Arctic foxes. This is North America. And some of these things will look familiar to you because this is the planet we live on, right? So you can see right behind Niagara Falls, here is Europe, all right? The continent that is to the west is the continent that we live on, North America. I like to keep Africa as my central point because Europe was right above it, and now I know that North America is to the left of it and up, so it's actually northwest, or yes, northwest, because we're going to the west and north, all right? North America is special because it has many different landforms and climates. There are high mountain ranges, right? Waterfalls, Niagara Falls, and the Grand Canyon are two landforms that people come from all around to see. There are many famous man-made structures too. We talked about this one, the Statue of Liberty, the Golden Gate Bridge, and the Mayan ruins are all located in North America. North America was home to many ancient civilizations like the Aztecs and Mayans. Native people lived in North America for thousands of years before people from other continents explored and moved there. North America is a true melting pot of people with many different cultures and nationalities, and that's what melting pot means, that in North America, we have people from many different cultures and nationalities living here. Some animals that live in the wild North American lands include bald eagles, ocelots, moose, beavers, and mountain lions. Okay, so again, here is our friend Africa. Right above it, okay, to the north of Africa, we have Europe. All right, and then if we look here, again, here's Africa. Northwest is the continent of North America where we live, and then right over here, probably you would say still to the west and down south, okay? Is the way I would look at it. I might not be correct, but trying to keep everything in perspective. We have Europe, we have South America. If you remember that this is North America, right below it is South America. South America is covered in hot, humid rainforests like the Amazon, high mountain ranges like the Andes Mountains, grassy plains and busy cities. South America is home to one of the longest rivers in the world, the Amazon River. Have you ever heard of Machu Picchu? It's an ancient city built in the mountains hundreds of years ago and is a popular man-made landmark in South America. It's a man-made landmark in South America. South America is home to the wide variety of people and animals. People speak mainly Spanish and Portuguese in South America. There are millions of indigenous native people that currently live in South America as well. There are millions of indigenous native people that currently live in South America as well. South America is home to animals like jaguars, anacondas, llamas, and many species of monkeys. And I mispronounced that as well. Anacondas, llamas, and many species of monkeys. Many endangered animals like the giant Galapagos tortoise, the sloth, the jaguar, and the Amazonian manatee also live in South America. And here is an indigenous woman that lives in South America. Pretty colorful paint on her face. Now, this is Asia. So again, here's my friend Africa. Above my friend Africa is Europe. And then to the right of Europe is Asia. Okay, Asia is the biggest continent and has many different climates and landforms. Parts of Asia are cold, frozen tundras. Okay? Mount Everest is an example of that. But there are also forest, grassy plains, and hot deserts. Asia is also home to the highest mountain on Earth, Mount Everest. The Great Wall of China is a famous man-made structure that stretches thousands of miles across mountain ranges. So this is a man-made structure called the Great Wall of China. Over 4 billion people live in Asia, making it the most populated continent on Earth. So I learned that Africa is the hottest, and I've learned that Asia is has the most people, or is the most populated. Asia's enormous size allows for many different types of people, animals, and plants. And some of the animals that live in Asia include the giant panda, the tiger, the camel, the Komodo dragon, and the king cobra. And I don't think I would want to be near either one of those. Okay, pretty city. This is Mount Fuji in Japan, very pretty, and you can see the beautiful mountain behind it. Okay, and then we have Australia. Okay, so remember, we have Africa, which is the central point, my central point focus. Above it, Europe. Over here, Asia. And then right over here, down from Asia, out there all by itself is Australia. And Australia is an island continent. You'll remember islands are pieces of land that have water all around them or are surrounded by water, okay? It is mainly covered in deserts called the outback, grassy plains and mountains, but there are also big cities on the coastlines. The Sydney Harbour Bridge is a famous structure that people come from all over the world to see. It's a man-made structure, the Sydney Harbour Bridge, okay? You can see that they have lots of kangaroos hopping around over there. Aborigines are Australia's first or indigenous people who are believed to have settled in Australia 60,000 years ago. They live in the outback, but some live in the cities as well. Australia is home to many different animal species, including the kangaroo, koala, wombat, and the platypus. And the last one, and again, here's my friend Africa. It's right below Africa. This is Antarctica. Antarctica's land is completely covered in thick ice. It is very cold and dry all year long in Antarctica, even in the summer. In fact, there aren't any people who actually live in Antarctica year-round. Scientists have built research stations where they stay and gather information when they visit to study the weather and animals, though. Okay, so here's a research station. Here's an iceberg. Only certain animals that have adapted to the harsh, frigid temperatures can live on Antarctica. Penguins, seals, whales, and some birds are the main creatures that live around Antarctica. The biggest land masses found on Earth are called continents. Okay, boys and girls, that question at the beginning of our learning target was, we'd be able to tell or define what a continent is. And here it is. The biggest land masses found on Earth are called continents. Say that with me. The biggest land masses found on our Earth are called continents. Say that one more time. The biggest land masses found on our Earth are called continents. The biggest bodies of water are called oceans. The biggest land masses found on our Earth are called continents. Each continent is unique. They have different climates, landforms, people, and animals. Which continent would you like to visit? Okay, now for a minute, I'm gonna just take you over to this table where hopefully you will be able to, I'm not sure if we're gonna get it all in. Okay, let me move it back a little bit because this is our classroom map. Okay, and we have pulled this down several times. All right, so again, I look in the middle, and the one in the middle is the continent of Africa. Okay, and working up is Europe. Next to Europe is Asia. Down from Asia is Australia. At the very bottom, right underneath Antarctica, I'm sorry, underneath Africa is Antarctica. Then I'm going to come back in the middle again. And over here to the left is North America. This is all North America. And then to the left, but slightly down, is South America. So we have North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, Antarctica. But if you start here, right in the middle, and know that this one is Africa, up and a little bit to the right is Europe, to the right is Asia, underneath Asia is Australia, underneath Australia is Antarctica. Come back up to Africa, over to the left, we have North America, and right under North America, we have South America. All right, now I'm going to take you for a ride again. And we're going to go back to the interactive board. Hope you don't get seasick. Okay, and here we are. All right, so in your packet, you are going to find a sheet that looks like this. If you look down along the bottom, there are 7 crayons. You are going to find North America and color it green. You are going to find South America and color it orange. Europe, pink, Africa, purple, Asia, red, Australia, yellow, and Antarctica, blue. Okay, and then you are also going to label. So again, if you think of Africa right in the middle, Africa is purple. So you would first label. With this one, I would label first. I would write the name of the continent, Africa, on the line, and then color Africa purple. All right, please look at each of these. They are particular places, which means they must begin with uppercase letters. So that is your job. Label each continent and then go back and color the continent according to the color code on the bottom. Okay, so when I look at this, I see Africa, I see Europe, I see Asia, I see Australia, Antarctica. I come back to Africa, I see North America, I see South America. Okay, and then when you have finished that, there is one page that you will print off and cut out the different continents, and then you will glue them where they need to, where they match up with the map on your activity sheet. Again, I see Africa, I see Europe, I see Asia, Australia, I see Antarctica, I see North America, and I see South America. Then your 3 true and false questions at the bottom. Okay? Today we learned that the largest land masses that cover the earth are called continents. See you next time.